Maine lobster. You couldn't get a Maine lobster. You had to go to Japan to get a Maine lobster. You believe? You had to go to Canada to get a Maine lobster. They were fishing there. Not only that, you had to go a day and a half in a boat, and they had you at 3 knots. That means essentially a little bit different than 3 meters an hour, but it means slow. 3 knots until you got outside of this 500-mile area, because they didn't want you to disturb the fish that you weren't allowed to fish for. But think of it, these people are crazy. And the new thing they had was you had to have an electric boat, even though they didn't work. And even though once you got out there, you had a problem because you couldn't get back because they didn't charge long enough. These are problems that were mentioned to them, and they said, "We don't care. You have to have an electric boat." And the other problem was the electric. Your battery is much heavier, as you know, so the boat has a tendency to sink. And they were forced, by 2030 or so, you were forced to have an electric boat. I don't think you were too happy with that, right? We just made a great settlement of the war with Iran, and we're going to be, subject to finalization of documents, which should get done over the next few days. Probably have a signing maybe in Europe. And, it's a great thing. Stock market's up 1,000 points. That means they like the deal. See, that means if the market goes down, that means they don't like the deal. But it's been up. Oil's dropped. Oil will start coming down to, I think, even lower than it was before. I said I was in Iowa. It was $1.85 a gallon. And I don't know if I'm going to get there, but we're going to get pretty close. It's going to come down. And when oil comes down, everything else comes down. Anyway, but Will, this is going to support millions and millions of people. America's fishermen they're special people. And it's fishermen and fisherwomen. So tell me, how do they define that? Because in most industries, like you have policemen, policewomen, do you call them fishermen and fisherwomen? I haven't heard of that one before. How are the women? Do they want to be designated as fisherwomen? Does anybody want to answer that question? Well, be careful. That might be the end of your career. I'm going to sign this now so that we get it done. No auto pen? I don't want an auto pen. Can you believe 94% signed by an auto pen? Can you believe that? I think it's higher than 94%. The only one that was definitely signed by him that we know of, you know what it was? It was his son. His son. That was the only one you could tell. You know why? Because his signature was horrible. She was the real beauty, that one. Okay,